Aquarius, welcome to your weekly reading. Let's get started and see what messages we have for Aquarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising positions for the week ahead. Keeping in mind these are general readings and may not resonate for everyone. So make sure to check out your other placements because you could have messages waiting for you there as well, which will offer you a more complete picture. All right, Aquarius, happy birthday to any Aquarius friends watching today, and let's get started and see what the energy around the week ahead is for Aquarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Current energy around the week ahead. Okay, Aquarius. Bottom of the deck is coming to the edge. So that makes me feel like you're sort of on the edge of something, like you might be just about to do something. You might be sort of getting to the place where you're about to do something, take action on something. Let's see what the other cards reveal for you, Aquarius. Okay, so we see a loyal heart, regeneration, poised, and the fates. So this is interesting. Regeneration showing up in the reversed position, which can sometimes be an indication that, if something is no longer serving you, to just sort of let it dissipate, let it go, let it be what it is, sort of accepting that, just as new beginnings are beautiful, sometimes an ending can have its own beauty and that it served its purpose. The cycle has served its purpose, and it may be ready now for, a very humble ending and an acceptance of an ending here. So, seeing this in reverse is really sort of guiding the reading to suggest that maybe Aquarius has experienced an ending recently, and now it's time to stop hanging on to this ending, to just let it be as an ending, and that can be tricky. And I'm seeing loyal heart next to it, which makes me feel like this ending was something that came about from something that you felt really loyal and devoted to. So that can make the ending even harder to sort of come to terms with. But that's exactly what these two cards are saying, is sort of coming to terms with the ending of something and being ready to sort of come to the edge of that process of sort of being like, okay, I understand that this cycle has come to an end, or this relationship has come to an end, or this experience has come to an end. Whatever has sort of come to that place, and then being ready to take a step forward into something else and feeling that readiness. So it's like the first few cards are speaking of that ending being difficult and being related to something that you felt very devoted or loyal to, and then the rest of your reading is sort of pointing us in a direction where you're ready now. You might be feeling like, I'm ready to move on from focusing on the ending and looking forward to perhaps a new beginning, and feeling like that resurgence and that confidence being what is coming through, the resurgence of confidence, and this idea that you can take action towards your next step now, and you're moving in that direction. And it feels like as you're doing that, you're sort of actually walking towards something that seems faded, with that faded card coming right after. So it's interesting, Aquarius. This may be an unexpected moment for you to sort of have something flourish after something came to an end. And it's like you're overcoming that fear of taking the first step out. It's interesting. You have card 35 here starting your reading, and card 36 on the bottom of the deck, sort of bringing things into completion, just almost like a metaphor for what your reading is saying as well. Because you're getting that courage one step at a time here to take a leap of faith and to accept something here that may have ended, and now it's like you're moving towards something faded. So it's interesting. It's sort of a message here reminding us that endings and beginnings are very much like dance partners. You know what I mean? Like as endings sort of take a turn into our lives, so does the new beginning coming right out of that ending. And so it's interesting. It's an interesting dance here. The Fates card here is really accepting things that you cannot change, and knowing what those things are. You know what I mean? And coming to terms with that. So there's something here that Aquarius is coming to terms with that's outside of your control. It's sort of a faded instance, right? It's an experience that it had to happen, I think, almost to open a door for you to take the next step towards something else. And it really feels like that's what's happening here. But it's interesting. I feel like isn't that beautiful? It's so fitting to see the Five of Cups and the Page of Cups as I cut the deck to shuffle for you, because this really does speak about sort of coming to acceptance about something that has ended. And it might have been a relationship. This is a general reading, so you'll have to fill in the blanks. But if you've recently come into an ending of a situation, a relationship, an experience, some kind of closure, ending, and it's just, it's been challenging for you to almost see the signs that this ended for a purpose that perhaps you haven't been able to realize just yet. But I feel like you're starting to take the first steps here, the first steps, the courageous first sparks of confidence coming back here, and this feeling of I'm ready, being ready to start a new process, a new experience, a new relationship, a new beginning. And as I'm saying that, we see the Two of Wands coming out here with the Page of Wands in reverse. So that's interesting, because that tells me you're ready for a new beginning, but there's a part of you that's still dissatisfied with the ending. It's like, you're like, I'm coming to terms with it, but man, I'm not so thrilled about the way things ended, or that they had to end in the first place. You still might be having a hard time accepting that. Sorry, just needed some water. You might still be struggling with the idea of coming to terms with the fact that this this experience had to come to an end in the first place. And seeing the loyal heart, I think you were very devoted to whatever this was. And it's interesting to see the Two of Wands here, because I really do think you're ready for the next opportunity. But there is still a part of you that is hanging on to the, not wanting to accept this big change. And that's coming through at this Knight of Swords in reverse as well. So there's definitely a part of you, Aquarius, that feels like this was sort of, double-edged here, mixed bag. Like on one hand, you have this opportunity now to do something that's really connected to you, and that could also be something you're very devoted to, but it feels like it's come at a time when you've been very afraid of a certain outcome taking place, and I feel like that outcome took place. That's this ending, right? And so it's sort of bittersweet, I guess, is the idea. From your perspective today, it's very bittersweet, because there's something that feels like it had to exit for this new energy to have a space to enter. But it's, I say today it feels bittersweet, because I think that what's coming through for you is a very inspired path that will take you into self-discovery and into a space where you're really connected to purpose and feelings of sort of being ecstatic and having passion for what you're doing and what you're expressing. And I feel like that is like There's the Magician, right? Like that is ultimately what, I'm seeing here with the Two of Wands, the Queen of Wands, and then the Magician. And on the other diagonal, we see this sort of fear and I don't want change. And I'm afraid that, how can I go on after this other experience has ended? And, you're very polarized in a sense, right? Like you're one way and the other way at the same time. And it's like you're about to embark on something brand new, Aquarius. It almost feels like you've reached the point of acceptance, but begrudgingly, like you're not fully in acceptance, but you're getting there. I feel like that's what I mean. Like it feels polarized because on one hand, I feel like you have accepted it, but on the other hand, I feel like you haven't. And it might be that kind of thing that lasts and comes in waves, where there are moments where you feel like, yes, you're moving forward, and then all of a sudden you're hit by a wave and you're like, it feels like this just happened again. So you might be going through these waves of feeling like, yes, I've accepted it and I'm confident to move on. And then maybe tomorrow you'll feel like it just happened again. So you'll feel like, nope, I'm not ready to move on. I'm taking myself back a little bit. It's interesting, but I feel like on the whole, you're ready. There just might be some aspects of you that haven't quite accepted this yet, but on the whole, I feel like you're ready. Bottom of the deck is the Hermit in reverse, which I think is quite fitting because you're still integrating whatever happened here. You're still integrating it. You're still processing it. I think you're still trying to understand it from a higher perspective, and that's challenging you still, and that's okay, because I feel like even though it's challenging you, you're still moving forward, and you're still choosing to sort of get up and move forward, even though you're in the midst of still accepting something, Aquarius. And yeah, this is going to be a moment, I think, that you look back on and think, yeah, I remember when this all began, and it began from this ending. And so it's like you're beginning something new, but it's sort of marked with an ending, Let's clarify some of these cards for you, Aquarius. Oh, look at that. The Hermit's coming out again. With the Seven of Pentacles. So yeah, like there's a part of you that might be feeling like, again, you're very polarized. I think you're still trying to understand this experience, but there's almost like this part of you that's like, has anything I've done up until now, is that still the direction I want to go? Is that still where I feel connected, or am I thinking of maybe going in a different direction? And it's interesting. I think that you're considering this at a time when, your confidence and your courage are very fresh from this ending. And so at this time, I feel like more reflection is required here, and you're taking that reflection. This is sort of a moment of pause in the Seven of Pentacles, where you're sort of reflective, and you're looking at your journey, and you're assessing, and you're sort of making you're making conscious sort of statements about the journey so far, and conscious statements. What do I mean about that? I think what I'm trying to say here is that you're being intentionally reflective about things, and you're really consciously looking at your journey so far. This is not just a moment where you're like, okay, what's next? Like, you're really pausing to have a look here. And you're almost in a state of gratitude when I look at this combination here. I feel like as you reflect on things, yes, there's been an ending, but it's almost like you're reflecting on whatever passed, and you're thinking about how grateful you were for that experience. And that pause is causing also a moment where you're like almost ready. You're preparing yourself for the next journey you're about to go on. And I feel like, yeah, like this intentional pause that you're taking, it's very conscious, it's very mindful, and it's very reflective. You're really having a good look at everything here that's just transpired. And I feel like that is it's interesting. Look at that. You see the 8 of Pentacles on the bottom of the deck, and 7, 8. Like, I feel like seeing this in reverse on the bottom of the deck tells me that in this moment of pause, you might actually be starting to figure out exactly what the next step is. And that's sort of what these oracle cards are saying, like that you're coming to the edge of one experience and you're jumping confidently into the next experience. And right now you're in the middle. You're at that moment of pause, right in between the ending and the beginning. And it's an interesting place to find yourself right now. Very reflective. There's the Ace of Cups. Lovely, lovely energy for you, Aquarius, because that Ace of Cups is overflowing with new emotions. And it's overflowing with an emotional sort of readiness for a new path. And it's sort of like you're ready now. You're renewed. You're in that space between an ending and a beginning, and it's just so lovely to see the Ace of Cups, because that makes me feel like you're, for some of you, you might be ready to love again. You might be ready to open your heart again. You're ready to have a true, authentic experience again without hiding your emotions. You're ready, you're fresh, you feel like renewed in a sense from whatever ended. You're stepping into this renewal, ready to open your heart again, Aquarius. And it's interesting because I feel like seeing the Magician, the Ace of Cups, the Two of Wands, and look, the Ace of Pentacles. Love this for you, Aquarius. This is really a new opportunity, is forming on the heels of something that has just come to an end. And again, we see that 9 of Swords on the bottom of the deck. So I know there's still there's a part of your your mind that's still processing this ending, and I think it's caused a lot of grief, and I don't say grief lightly. I actually think you've been grieving. When I look at that 9 of Swords that you've received now twice, I think you're grieving the ending of something. And like I said, it's a general reading. So for some of you, this is the ending. It's the ending of something. It's the ending of an experience, a relationship. It's the ending of a chapter. Something has ended. But something's also beginning, my friends. You've got these 2 beautiful aces here. I mean, that is probably the best thing that you can see in a reading that speaks about endings, is to see the Ace of Pentacles and the Ace of Cups coming out here as you're in this moment of pause and reflection. And it almost feels like you're in the cycle of a grief cycle. And you're being gifted this beautiful gift of manifestation and this beautiful gift of love in the aces that you've received here. And, it's like there's an opportunity for you to sort of have this gift of love bring in a new level of compassion, healing, hope, a new beginning that's very optimistic and fulfilling. And it brings in a lot of love that's like love for others and love for the self. And it's really an opportunity to sort of bring that love from like the universe, like that source of love, and bring it directly into your life. It's a very heightened emotional time right now. And it feels like you're going to express that love with wisdom. When I see that Hermit twice, I feel like you're going to express that love with wisdom, and it's going to be sort of unconditional. and it expands your heart instead of closes it. Like you're coming through with an open energy here. And it's wonderful. It's wonderful to see, especially because there does feel like there was an ending here. And so it's beautiful. And that Ace of Pentacles, I mean, you can't ask for anything higher, honestly. Really, this gift of manifestation is serving you as sort of like, almost like a promise of a new beginning. It's like you are ready now to take that manifestation and connect it to actualize that idea of true wealth, which is the wealth that we feel within. And like coming out of this situation where you have to accept the ending of something that you were very devoted to and that you sort of worked really hard on growing, and there was a strong connection there. I feel like you're about to experience that as a new beginning. And it's really going to be creating a lot of inner peace for you, and stability and well-being and recovery and wealth. And it sort of symbolizes balance on the physical level and the material level, and then on the emotional level as well. So, Aquarius, I'm going to leave it at that, but I really feel like this reading is guiding you to continue to take those courageous steps to be open in all ways, and to find peace in this ending. All right, my friends, I'm going to leave it at that. Thank you so much for joining me for this reading today. I hope it's been helpful and resonated for you. If it has, please consider subscribing, liking, sharing, commenting. If you would like a personal reading, you can find that information in the description below. And as always, I'm sending you so much love and light, my friends, and I look forward to reading for you again soon. Take care.